Okay, here's our final podcast for Chapter 11. It's interesting that in the online area there are some new pricing models being piloted, and dynamic pricing essentially is the idea that a company alters its price in real time to fit the supply and demand of a given situation. So dynamic pricing is used by companies such as Amazon, where based on your cookie profile, they may alter prices for individual customers, where customers who consistently buy in one category may not receive price breaks compared to somebody else who's, what we would call just a look-and-see buyer. Dynamic pricing is very controversial because it upsets customers when they learn that they're not being offered the same price as other consumers, particularly if those customers are loyal customers. Certainly online auctions are a big phenomenon, and one of the most interesting types of online auctions is what's called a reverse auction. So let's think how most auctions work. A seller puts something on sale and customers can bid on it where the highest price bid wins. And reverse auctions are just the opposite. A buyer essentially says, here's what I want to buy. Oftentimes this is in the business arena where a company may want to buy maintenance, repair, and operating items. And then suppliers essentially bid to provide or fulfill that contract, in which case the lowest price bid wins. So there are many types of online auctions, and the reverse auctions are interesting in the business arena because it's really driven out a lot of excess cost in the business-to-business marketplace. The world of Freenomics is kind of an interesting word. Essentially, Chris Anderson, who's the editor of Wired magazine, has said the future of business is free. And this happens because in the digital world, essentially the marginal cost of distributing digital products is zero. And when the marginal cost of distributing, say, a book or a film online is zero, then we can price those products at zero. Now, of course, it doesn't mean that the infrastructure and servers and bandwidth and the cost to procure the content that's being distributed is free. So essentially, this idea of the future of business is free means that a company has to have an additional business model to augment what they are giving away for free. Oftentimes the business model that's used here is called a freemium, where there's two different versions of a product, one of which is a paid premium subscription that a subset of customers may upgrade to purchase while the rest of the customers get a free version. There are many consumer behavior issues that affect how customers respond to price. And what you see here is an overview of some of these consumer behavior or consumer psychology issues in pricing. I'm going to go ahead and switch at this point to discuss the legal and ethical issues in pricing. So let's go to the next slide. First of all, price discrimination essentially means when a company charges different prices for different customers. And the place where this is particularly interesting is in the area of trade discounts and trade allowances. The Robinson-Patman Act essentially says that different retailers cannot receive different discounts unless those discounts are proportionate to sales. And what this means is that large distribution channel members, such as a Home Depot, a Walmart, or a Best Buy, oftentimes are able to get significantly better price deals simply because they're proportionate to the larger volume that they do. And so although price discrimination, charging different prices for different customers, is illegal, there is an exception when those discounts are given proportionate to sales volume. Price fixing is another legal issue. There are two types of price fixing. Horizontal price fixing occurs when the price fixing is done by two companies who operate at the same level of the supply chain. So for example, in the airline industry, which is an oligopoly, If airlines conspire to set prices in particular markets, then that would be horizontal price fixing. Vertical price fixing is when a manufacturer essentially tells a retailer what price to set for the products they sell. This is called resale price maintenance, and oftentimes these agreements are set by a high-end manufacturer like Apple, for example, to make sure that their premium position in the market is upheld, and they don't want their retailers discounting their products. Vertical price fixing is per se illegal in this country, as is horizontal price fixing. That's why the resale price maintenance is oftentimes referred to as a suggested manufacturer retail price. Predatory pricing is when one company sets a very low price for a certain period of time in order to drive competitors out of business. So, for example, when Costco started selling gas and cars, people were very concerned that they would set a very low price to drive competitors out of business. Again, this is considered to be illegal, and the legal standard is that there has to be shown predatory intent with those low prices. I do see, going backwards, that I did forget to cover bait and switch and loss leader pricing. Bait and switch essentially means a store advertises a certain product at a low price in order to bait customers to come into the store to take advantage of that deal. And once the customer is in the store, the salespeople are instructed to switch those customers to more expensive products or products that have more bells and whistles that the retailer makes a higher margin on. This is considered to be illegal. If a product is advertised, the store cannot say that it is out of stock and try to switch you. They must offer a rain check or a make good. This is fairly common in products such as tires, for example, or consumer durables. Buyer beware. Loss leader pricing is when a store charges a low price on an item, for example, milk, eggs, or bread. They do not make money on that. The idea is those low prices draw customers to the store, and then they go ahead and fill their baskets with other items. This is considered to be legal in most states unless there is a law called a minimum markup law. Minimum markup laws set the minimum market that a retailer must charge in order to avoid this type of predatory pricing or loss leader pricing. The intersection of law and pricing is fascinating, and if you're interested in this area, I know many marketing students oftentimes think about going on for a law degree. This is an area that we see quite a bit of legal action even today. This concludes our chapters on pricing. In class, we will be focusing primarily on the mathematical aspects of pricing.